Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Um, I guess Google Hangouts is now going away. So that sucks. But I figured I'm going to do a little bit of painting tonight. And I am going to send this chat here over to Andrew and whoever else may want to hop in. Let me put this in our little group chat. One day. I don't know why it takes like so long for this to. I don't know why it takes so long for this to load on this computer, but it could also be because I'm streaming live, but now it's like taking a very long time. Ugh. Come on, guys. But yeah, we'll get to the painting here very shortly. And put this in the Thursday night thing. Here we go. All right. So this is going to be one of the last Hangouts we do, which is kind of a bummer, but I don't know. We may have to do. Hey, where'd it go? There we go. We may have to do something else. I don't know. We could use like a Discord chat or something like that in the future if we're gonna do this kind of stuff. And it also looks like I did not fix my camera. So let me go ahead and do that too, so that you guys aren't seeing a bunch of like autofocus stuff. Let's use Roast here to help focus the cam. I'll take autofocus off. There we go. Cool. So that's on board there. And now I'm gonna go over to YouTube and open up our comment section. Okay. All right. Let that load. And here we go. One day that'll load. It's okay. It's whenever. Whatever. Okay. So right now I need to undercoat all of this white, because I don't think apothecary white is the way I'm going to go here. With the cooks, they're going to have more of like an off-white color. So I think the best thing to do here, given that they have so much white, is I think we're going to use a like a watered-down skeleton horde and just kind of take it from there. Okay. So if you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, let me know in the chat and we'll get to it. Otherwise, if you're watching this on record, yeah, we're going to do some painting. So grab yourself something to drink or queue up whatever you're intending to paint tonight. And yeah, let's get to it. Where is my skeleton horde? So the skeleton horde is going to go on this dude. And it's actually, you can see with I did it here on the little chicken part. So it's Monday, need more wine. Oh gosh. I'm not much of a wine guy. Sake, I'll do, but wine, not really. In fact, I haven't even done sake in a long time. So, oh. So, yeah, let's get this going. So I'm going to put this on fairly thin, because I'm really just using this to shade, and I'd rather not have to, paint the whole thing, or rather not have to like base coat this like an off-white. If it'll just dry down to the right color, which I'm pretty sure this will. And then we're also going to use Studio Art has a little bit less. Doesn't really have any red in it, and I want the red in there to match the rest of this team. Okay, but right now the focus is to get this skeleton horde down. So you can see it's looking pretty yellow right now, but it's going to dry down lighter than that. And we're just going to start knocking out at least the top portion of our cooks here. Going to have this skeleton horde. So I did set this up as a Google Hangout. If you guys want to hop in the Hangout, those of you in the little special chat area we have, I sent the link on there. So feel free to hop in if you like. Otherwise, feel free to ask me any questions or anything. I could, we can talk M3E malifaux, or we can talk about this game here, Guild Ball. It's equally good game. Let me see. I don't know if I don't think I want. Well, the red aprons would be kind of nice on this team, and they would match the rest of my clients' butcher's team. If I did red aprons and black pants. So let's just get this all sort of shaded in or blocked in. Actually, I think this front apron here should actually be the, like, what if the outfit is, the shirts are red underneath and this apron, the aprons are white. And that would actually make sense, and it would allow me to do, some of the stains and that kind of stuff probably look a little bit cooler. So I actually I'm going to go back real quick and hit Spice's apron and make it this bone color. Right. So in this case, his chef's jacket, that actually looks pretty good, that color. I like that quite a bit. Right. So this all being sort of one jacket, that's kind of nice. Okay. And yeah, I guess we'll do, I guess her undershirt can be red, and then this apron part can be the skeletal horde, right? I think that should look okay. Again, let me know if you guys have any questions on cooks or anything else, really. It's funny how, like, 3 of these sculpts are pretty straightforward. Like there's not much to do with these. It's just really deciding where the white, the red, and the black go on these. So in this case, this little apron part here, that will be red, and then we'll have black pants for most of them. That's not bad. Okay. So we're going to let that dry a little bit. Now, the client asked for a little bit of like flour on cinnamon, like she had been baking, and this is a very difficult thing to do. But I'm going to try to do a couple of things. One, we're going to lighten up the skin just a little bit. So I'm going to make a glaze out of some skin tone. And I'm just going to lightly glaze in her face. Her face does look a little bit darker than it probably should be. So I want to do this with a glaze and make it really thin though. So, just so there's a little bit more light on her face. We'll build it in kind of slowly. I love the expression on her face though. It's really good. I'm really pretty impressed with this mini. Okay. And then she kind of has like a little bit of hose here. It's not bad. I'm gonna get just a little bit of detail on the paddle. So I think flowering this is really gonna be interesting. Okay, because I think what I need to do is really kind of just stipple white. I'm going to take this white, let's add a little bit of glaze medium to that white, in fact. So that we can stipple it. Okay. And this is, like I said, we'll stipple it. Around here. Right, so it looks like there's a little bit of, she's got, right, like this, she'd been, she's had this in powder all day in flour. A little paddle here. One of the weirdest requests I'd have to say I got from a commission is, make her look, I mean, I've done like blood spatter and that kind of stuff before. And this kind of makes me sad that, there's such good detail on this mini. And we're gonna stipple some white on her, right? Like she's had. He wanted it on her face originally, but I'm like, look at the detail on the face. Why would I do that? I don't know that. I could put a little bit of powder on her nose, but she's gonna look like just a clown, or it's gonna look like I screwed up a little bit. Right? There we go. If I just do this. Now she looks like she's got sunblock on her. I do not like this effect. It looks bad. You just can't, an effect like that is, you just can't do it really effectively at this scale. Does not look very good. Sad, because I had that face was looking pretty good. Now it just looks kind of, it looks silly. Like, I get what you're trying to do, but yeah, it just looks, I don't like it. Whatever. It's not my mini. I do not like that. Whatever. So we're gonna do this effect real quick. Right, so she's got like powder all over her. And a little bit of powder on this. All right. Okay. So there's that. And then on V-Bore, V-Bore actually has, before we wreck him, let's do some cool stuff to V-Bore, right? The main thing is he needs a white edge highlight, right? So before we muck this up with effects, let's get our edge highlight down. I love my clients, but sometimes they get a creative streak and they want something done without understanding, you know, what they're asking for. Like, it sounds really cool in your head, and I get that, but you know, there's still a physical limitation to things, especially trying to get certain effects at a scale like this. This is just it's a little nuts to try to get some of the effects that people have asked me for. I had a guy seriously ask me to do, he wanted me to freehand a Jack Daniels label on his brewers. And I was like, how try hard do you need to be when you think somebody is going to freehand for you, who didn't want to pay the actual pricing on my painting anyway? It was like, oh, I'll barely pay you. Can you freehand a Jack Daniels thing? I nearly painted this a soy milk label on it. I was just gonna give him soy milk on his brewers. Here, you need to. Are you okay? Are you not? You're not secure in your masculinity. You have to show people how cool you are with your Jack Daniels label. Let's here's soy milk label on your brewer. There, brah. There you go, brah. Oh man, poor guy. He didn't realize that shit was hard. That is extremely excruciating to do, and maybe only 4 people on planet Earth could actually replicate a full label on something that's maybe 5 millimeters across. Hey man, can you do Jack Daniels? I really need to impress somebody. Oh gosh. Now somebody, I know that there is a painter out there capable of doing that. But if you were to pay that guy to paint your minis, it sure would be a lot more than what I charge people. All right. Let's get some proper cuts and bruises here on Mr. Boar. So we're gonna get some effect paint out. All right. So a little bit of dried blood here. Now this is a cool paint because it's fairly thick. So you kind of just dry brush it over the spots where the scars are. You know, the key is to not try to like cover, right? You're almost just sort of leaving those spots. And this is a paint that's going to go on extremely dry. You can see it there. It's going on very dry, right? There's that broken piece from resin there that was driving me crazy. Now roast is going to get the same treatment here. I'm going to make sure we get enough on that blade there. And then we're going to mix that with a little bit of fresh blood. So this is the component that goes on dry. Fresh blood goes on more wet. And then the really cool thing is when you see them together, then all of this will make sense. Anyways, if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. Tonight we're painting up some cooks, and yes, we have Vet Boar as part of this commission as well, and he's looking pretty cool. Let's find fresh blood. You did dry blood. You do dry blood, you gotta do fresh blood. So here's fresh blood. You can see it's a lot brighter. This will also go on somewhat dry. Although I like to put just a little bit of water, it was a lot of water, a little bit of water in with fresh blood and kind of treat it almost more like a wash. Because this is fresh blood is what is going to be running off blade edges and this kind of stuff. And they're gonna kind of make them with one more cut up. I like the effect it's had on the blades. That looks pretty good, right? And then for the hell of it, let's just go ahead, since we're here, we have to paint in the base. We gotta paint the base lip. And I believe this is a very dark red we're using. So we're going to use heavy red. Whoa. The dropper came off there. It's bad. All right. A little bit of water. Oh, wait. What am I doing? This is, oops, I almost made a big mistake. This client has pure black bases. I forgot. So we do a little bit of pure black. Now with Reaper paints, I noticed you really shouldn't be thinning nearly as much as you thin with Vallejo paints. Because Reaper paints, they already have kind of flow, they have like leveling agents in them. Ooh, that was actually more than I wanted. So you don't thin as much here. And I want this to go nice and even, so I'm going to apply this we're going to apply a nice full coat of the black here. Some people really like the all black lipped bases for their team, and I will fully grant that it's a very nice clean look. I like the guild color personally. Which team did Andrew play? Oh, are you talking about the malifaux for malifaux for the demo I ran today, or for Guild Ball? Because for malifaux we did we played a henchman hardcore format in order to teach him to play, and I let him choose. So I had 2 different henchman hardcore teams. The first one was Carlos Vasquez leading a crew with Cassandra, and he had Carlos, Cassandra, the fire starter, and a mech arachnid. So really nice crew. It's actually a crew I would consider playing myself for henchman hardcore. It's got 3 henchmen and that mech arachnid, which is a nice versatile minion in there. So he ran those 3 henchmen and a spider against. I took a Fitzsimmons led crew. So Fitzsimmons is kind of an MNSU henchman who just kind of helps lead the MNSU in their public riots and that kind of thing. Henchman Hardcore, I believe, is 30 Soulstones. So we did 30 Soulstones. Okay. So now we got to determine where's the red on these characters. Like, does he have red pants? And then I just do, red pants are kind of cool. I guess I can do red pants and black shoes. And then the belts here can be brown. The gloves can be brown, or we'll make the gloves black, I guess. Yeah. And then he has, is that true that he does not have, Mr. Guy here does not have hair, it seems like. He just has got a little bit of a goatee, but he doesn't really have hair. That's weird. Is that right? I guess that's right. By the way, contrast paints suck for this type of detail. Because it just runs right off the detail. Right? You're trying to achieve something with an opaque paint and it's not working. And this guy here, so vet boar needs more this type of attention. And then let's do there we go. He's got a little bit of fresh blood there. Let that dry. All right, so he's got that. Who else has like, oh, I gotta base coat the ferret too. Gotta do that. Actually, forget the ferret. Let's knock out a bunch of these at the same time. It's more effective. So I want to do so now I want to do some blood red to unify them with the butchers. Maybe. I just think it would be sharper if his pants were black rather than red. But I don't know. Let's do red. Easier to go from red to black than it is to go from black to red. So I can paint this in and then we can decide if we really want to do that. Yeah, I really like Henchman Hardcore in terms of teaching people how to play malifaux, and they're pretty fun, kind of just one-off games anyway. The main downside to Henchman Hardcore is you don't get to play masters and totems and stuff, and so you lose a significant amount of playstyle. But in a demo where you're really just trying to learn how to approach duels and that kind of stuff, you don't need like these crazy deep play styles. I think what I'll do is trying to get that. There we go. So what crews does everyone here play for malifaux? Tell me what crews you play for malifaux, or what guild you play for Guild Ball, or whatever. What army you play for 40k. I think no, black would be better. It would unify him with the rest of the faction here. So black gloves, I guess. And then we're gonna we'll do black gloves, belts, and boots. And hopefully this stuff will move through pretty quick, because I'm more interested in painting Andrew's stuff. Tenti Yoko. Yes. Oh man, I was really impressed with Yoko. Super fun style of play. It can, just dominating another player's control hand is a really strong mechanic. So super fun. I like those kinds of masters that have like the cool card tricks and stuff like that. I like that. Uh, but I also like having a little bit of speed and a little bit of combat, and it seems like her crew gives you all of those other pieces, while Yoko's job is really to just screw with the other players' ability to control their own crew. You kind of keep a model activating within 6 of her, and then you just kind of exploit that model each turn to get yourself valuable information about the opponent and play accordingly. Like, what's not to like about that? That's pretty damn awesome, if you ask me. Um, so Wellington here needs some highlights. And I'm wondering, should I highlight? I guess I should, right? Just highlight his chef's outfit white, so that it all kind of lines up. I should do off-white, but white is probably okay. Yeah, 10T. I was talking to another player. I was talking to Gordon today about malifaux. Actually, I think I was talking to like 7 or 8 people at the same time about malifaux. And one of those people was Gordon, and he was asking, like, what's everyone playing right now? And I kind of went down the line and told him, and he asked, you know, how are 10 Thunders? And I said they're in a really good spot right now. There's like more than half of us are really interested in a number of their masters. I think overall 10 Thunders has the most interesting collection of masters and playstyles. For me, right? I that's a subjective answer, but for me, I think they have more masters that I'm interested in playing than any other faction currently. But I think a lot of people feel that way, and so I'm content. And my favorite master is still an Arcanist, so I'm sticking with Arcanist for the time being, and will continue to kind of refine my game around Colette and Karis. But at some point, I really can see myself playing Mei Feng or Yoko or Lynch. Um, there's so many good 10T or fun 10T masters. But yeah, my favorite 10T masters are um, from the one I haven't played Yoko. I played against her and was really impressed. But from what I played in the past, Mei Feng, Lynch, and Mei Feng and Lynch were like perennial favorites with me. I've always kind of liked Yan Lo too, but never played him. Just kind of admired him from the distance there. Looks pretty good. Pretty good. Doesn't have to be fancy. This is just effective. All right. I'm gonna try to get some stuff painted for Andrew by Thursday. It's gonna be a little bit of a stretch because building the stuff alone, I think, is gonna take an evening. So that means I would have to build Prime tomorrow night and then essentially paint all the models Wednesday night. Paint and seal Wednesday night, which is that's a bit of a stretch. But let's see. Maybe I can get some of the build done tonight. If I can get like a few of the models built tonight, that'd probably be a nice little head start here. All right. So we're gonna knock out spice here. So there you can see these are gonna start to go pretty quick. Now that I kind of have my scheme down. I'm sorry, sugar. And sugar has dark hair. I think cooks are a really fun aesthetic, but I'm not interested in owning cooks. This is the thing about being doing commission painting. Like one of the really cool things about commission painting is if you have, if you're fortunate enough to keep yourself in a system where you enjoy all the projects even though they're commissions, then you can look at certain things like certain guilds and stuff and go, oh well, I don't need to own it. I just want to paint it. And so the fact that somebody will just commission you to paint it is a nice little bonus, right? Everybody wins in that regard because you're painting something you wanted to paint anyway. You don't have to keep it and store it and then feel bad about not playing it. And then somebody else is just getting themselves a nice crew or a guild or something. So win-win in my book. So I think I'm gonna paint. So I'm gonna paint one of Andrew's crews this week, and then maybe next week I could paint some. If Nelson has stuff in, I can paint some of Nelson's stuff, and then just kind of rotate, right? Just rotate based on who needs what done. It couldn't have hit at a better moment because I was like, sometimes in between commissions, like you're on the verge of buying something for yourself. You're like, oh, and in the case, like I wanted to buy malifaux, but I didn't need to buy anything. You know what I mean? So I wanted to, I wanted to buy something, but eh, was not, was not, that was not going to be great. Okay, so that should be red. This little apron here should be red, and her pants can either be brown or black. I think black is sharper, so we'll just continue with the black up the pants here, like so. But yeah, that's a nice thing to be able to do. It's like for 10 Thunders, I think as a faction, they're definitely one of the best looking factions in malifaux. So um, I don't need to own them, although I wouldn't mind owning them. Um, Painting them would be great too, though, right? If all I was, it was just, hey, paint my 10T crew, I'd be pretty down with that because that's pretty awesome. New Colette box. Okay, during Gen Con, so I can order new Colette during Gen Con. That's awesome. Okay, let's do the red apron. Yeah, so I don't need to buy any crews or anything right now. We've got Colette. I'm about to order. I've got plenty of commissions, and these are the best. Like local commissions are the best commissions, especially when you're playing that game, because that's super satisfying, right? Because it's like, oh, I just painted this. Then you show up and then we put it on the table and get to use it immediately. That's pretty awesome, right? That's another one I feel like that's super win-win for everybody. Because then, everybody gets to enjoy it. which is awesome. Kind of like just a lot of spoons and stuff. There we go. Yeah, like without a doubt, I need to get that Colette crew so I can start painting that. Then I'll have to turn down commissions for a couple of days while I paint my own stuff, and then I can pick it back up again. Take a little break just to enjoy painting my own stuff, and then we're back at it. Like a lot of knives and other stuff back here that I can't really recognize. Okay. We're just gonna knock out these chefs one by one. Whoops. I don't think that cheese grater is supposed to be that color. Oh well. Oops. Well, there's a knife handle there. I guess I just do the rest of it. It's kind of gray color. And then we highlight it white. These guys are flying by. Once you do the skin and the face and you've got contrast paints, the rest of this is pretty simple. Ugh. Unless the contrast paints run together. Then you got a bunch of bloody baking tools. His little measuring spoons. There you go. Right. Okay. Hey, what's up, Andrew? You just took a nap? Nice. No worries, dude. We are just hanging and painting. But yeah, I mean, this is it. It's I'm bummed because apparently Hangouts is gonna be. They're gonna Google Hangouts will no longer be a thing after August 1st. So I should have done more streams that were Hangouts while we had them, so that it's always fun to paint stuff and have other people on stream talking to you. It's a lot more entertaining than talking out into the void while you're trying to paint something. A lot harder to do this too. To just like keep your mouth moving while you're like trying to concentrate on certain things. We're like, yeah, sure. That worked. Okay. Yeah, we can still do Discord streams. I don't know if there's a good way to do that on YouTube. But we can do like Twitch seems to be easier to do that. YouTube, I don't know, maybe I'm pretty sure it's just I just open up an audio channel that corresponds to the Discord, and then we're just talking on Discord over YouTube. Right, and then that just becomes a single camera stream, and then we're good to go. the Discord, the downside to the Discord streams is you don't, if you have multiple people painting, sometimes it's more interesting to see a bunch of different things being painted at the same time. So you don't get that, but it's okay. All right. So now we're going to go here with space, the specimen bowl. And let's see how this goes. You got to be a little more precise with this blood red, because I'm painting around. So in this case, a lot of times the top apron is white. Well, we're going to do it red. You know what I think of with red aprons? So I think of In-N-Out, right? In-N-Out Burger. They all wear red aprons there, and they have white. They have these white hats. So this is like the In-N-Out Burger theme for cooks here. Fun fact: I do actually own a red In-N-Out apron, and I've never worked at an In-N-Out, but I won an In-N-Out. Actually, my family and I won a red In-N-Out apron. We won this like giant gift basket of just all In-N-Out stuff, right? And this was we used to go to the we would go to like the Laguna Hills Mall for Halloween, and they would do like a costume competition. They did a costume contest in the mall, right? And the first year when Octavius was not even one, that first year that we decided to enter in that competition, we all dressed as sriracha bottles. So so we all had sriracha. We all had the red sriracha shirts and green pants, and then no wait, sorry, red shirts and red pants, and then I designed these hats. They were just big giant green cone hats to represent the green nozzle at the top of a sriracha bottle. So our whole family was dressed as sriracha bottles, and we won like a bunch of prizes at the mall. It was like, oh, we won like most creative or something, and we won like uh, best group costume or something like that. Uh, and so it was really fun. It was really exciting. And the next year, you know, my wife was like, she got really into it, and she's like, okay, we have to win. We have to win this year. Suddenly, she became like really competitive, like invested in winning this costume competition. And uh, and so the next year we dressed up in like a Peter Pan theme, and I dressed up as Captain Hook, and our son, he dressed up as Peter Pan, and my wife dressed up as Tinkerbell. And we were walking around the mall, and she's like she's in like super competitive mode, right? So she's like scouting everybody else's costumes, and like, oh, look at that family. I think they're like our competition because they dressed really cool. There was like a Lord of the Rings um, themed family, which was like she thought for sure they were gonna win, and I was like, no, they're not gonna win, not because they don't have better costumes than us, because I felt like they did clearly, but because judges for this kind of stuff tend to be like, women of a certain age that aren't interested in like Lord of the Rings, and they're like, oh, this is wholesome. Like they go for like the wholesome appealing stuff. And so Lord of the Rings, like, because I think the dad or something was dressed as like one of the ring wraiths, And I was like, yeah, that's not, it's not wholesome enough. So I didn't consider them competition. But Fruit Ninjas, those guys were, that was competition, right? Because now you've got something contemporary. And then we looked at we looked at the judges up there, and there was like a millennial sitting in the judge panel, and I'm like, shit, Fruit Ninjas are scoring big with her. I know she plays Fruit Ninjas. Like we were making like judge character judgments on the judges, like, oh, we know she plays Fruit Ninjas and she's gonna love Fruit Ninjas, right? So uh and Fruit Ninjas, it was, but my wife felt like Fruit Ninjas had a shitty costume, because they did, because all they were was just like, they were just wearing like black t-shirts with like pieces of fruit like on them. They were just like pieces of fruit, and then uh, some of them had like boxes around their body. But I think there was 4 or 5 of them, and I just remember going, okay, they don't look like, the costumes technically don't look very appealing, but the whole idea that they're fruit ninjas, I know is very appealing. So anyway, so like I said, we're like in full on like power gamer mode, right? Trying to win this costume contest at the freaking mall. And so, we go up to get a judgment, and we like, I forget that we taught our son how to do the, what was it, whatever the thing, Peter Pan holds his sword up in the air and he says like, huzzah, or he says something specific, right? And he did it like right at the right moment when we get up on stage, right? So it's like, oh my god, we did so well, right? So now we're waiting for judging, and like I said, suddenly, like, this is like us trying to win like a Guild Ball tournament, right? It's like that level of competitiveness. Like, we have to win this thing, and they're calling out all the prizes, and you know and I was like, I don't think we're going to win most creative this year, because obviously we weren't very creative. I forget who won most creative, but definitely wasn't us. And so all the prizes are going by, right? And finally the group or family one goes by, and sure enough, they call out Fruit Ninjas, right? Fruit Ninjas, come on up and claim your prize. And it was this giant basket of shit. And we were just like my wife was so dejected. Oh man, we didn't win. Let's just get out of here. So we're turning around to leave, and we're heading out, and we hear them calling for Fruit Ninjas. Fruit Ninjas, is Fruit Ninjas here? Fruit Ninjas, right? And we're halfway across the mall, and Fruit Ninjas have still not shown up to claim their prize. And like I said, my wife is a little dejected about the whole thing. And then suddenly we hear them go, "The Peter Pan family, can the Peter Pan family come up?" And my wife turns around. This is like, let's pretend this is my wife, and she's like, turns around and she's like, "Whoa!" All the way halfway down the mall. She turns around and starts charging all the way back to the stage, like, whoa, we won. She's going through this crowd. And here's why I don't like Halloween costume contests, right? Because we're going through this crowd of these little kids, and she's pushing the stroller, and she's like, excuse me, we won. And she's like pushing her way through this crowd of just, and all I see are just these faces of these sad little boys and girls that they thought for sure they were going to win with their Optimus Prime costume that year. Or the girl picked Elsa and she looks like Elsa. There's no way she's not going to win the costume competition. And we go through this crowd of just probably 100 or so kids with just the saddest faces and the saddest looks on their faces. And my wife is like barreling through the crowd with with Octavius, like, whoa, we won. And we push our way through, and we get the basket, and it's like a big it's like a big moment, right? Like, we win, we won because the other team defaulted. In other words, And sure enough, in this bag, like in this basket of stuff, is a full blown like in and out kit, right? Like we had like $200. We had like at least it was I forgot. We had like enough in and out to last like almost a year. But we had uh a crazy amount of like in and out gift certificates, and we had these cool. Let me see if I can find it because I think it's right here. I think I left it in here. It's super cool. Let's see if I can find it. No. Ah, shit. Maybe I stuck it someplace safe. That's how important. That's how important these prizes were, everybody. Hey, look, another fake deck. Wow. Oh no. Okay. Anyway, there was there's this cool. Oh, here it is. It is here. Yes, but it doesn't have a deck inside of it. So we got these cool like in and out. Uh, I got this like cool in and out playing card case thing, which is awesome. I put my Malifaux Fate deck in it just to be super fancy. And then we also got like the in and out, like the full on like hat and the apron and all this other like super cool stuff. But just winning that competition was freaking hilarious. And it was, and we realized that we were a bit beast mode that year, that we were a bit power gamey that year. So the following year we didn't. I don't believe we end. Oh no, the following year I don't even think there was a costume competition. They just had the regular trick or treating thing at the mall. But yeah, that that's how we have an in and out. That's the story of how we got an in and out apron and all this other cool stuff was for that competition. Um, but super funny moment. I just remember feeling like slightly embarrassed that we were like pushing our way through a crowd of just these like dejected little kids that didn't win a costume contest, and we won kind of, you know, we kind of defaulted ourselves to a win, but it was like we took it, we didn't care, we were excited, we wanted to win something, and, and we won something. Oh man. So we didn't after that we didn't really do costume competitions. Oh, I didn't show you this, Andrew. You missed this. I'll show it real quick since it's here. This little in and out uh, card carrying case, and I used to have my retro Fate deck in here, but so we had all, like I said, we won all this really cool like in and out merch for winning the costume contest, but that was officially the last costume contest we entered. But the cool thing about that though is, ever since then, now like our family tries to do like a family costume. Like we try to do, uh, and it's fun to dress up in theme. So like one year, our son wanted us to be, um, he wanted everyone to be skeletons. So we were all skeletons, and I was uh work what's it called? I was like Office Space Skeletor. So I had an Initech shirt from the movie Office Space, but I had a Skeletor costume underneath. So I was Skeletor wearing I was Skeletor as Office Space, I guess, or Skeletor reporting for his day job, I guess is another way you could have put that. Ooh. Oh, whoa. Yeah. So that's one story about winning Halloween costume contests. Okay. So this is spice. So I'm tempted to do a little red ribbon, paint a little red ribbon there, but I don't think that's right. I don't think spice. Where's that? I think they're just white hats like this that are just kind of folded onto each other. But we're doing all right. I'm just still moving along. Yeah. So but Andrew, I will do what I can to try to have stuff ready by Thursday, but I can't promise anything because I don't know how extensive those builds are. I will, like I said, I mean, I guess if you really wanted to play them Thursday, what I could do is just seal wherever I happen to be at, and then just bring them in, and then just bring them back with me, and I'll finish painting them. Could do that because I know you're probably anxious to try them out. I'm glad everybody's like really excited to play malifaux. I mean, I was I don't know, it was so much. It felt good to be home. Is for me is just really one way of putting that, right? Uh, I don't even know if you guys were really aware of my history with the game and how far back it went, and how malifaux was one of the main reasons why I continued miniature wargaming, because by the time malifaux came out, I was ready to quit the hobby entirely, right? I was like, well, Warhammer 40K is the only thing in town. I don't like Warhammer 40K. I looked at War Machine briefly, but I didn't like the community around War Machine. There's just a lot of obnoxious people playing War Machine uh, in the like Riverside area, which is where I was doing a lot of gaming around the time that malifaux came out. Um, so I was like ready to just quit. I was like, yeah, we can't really get our Blood Bowl league the way we used to get it, and there's you know, and I could move. I was ready to let's just move on to the next chapter of life, right? Maybe I go back into MMOs or something awful like that, right? That's a whole other story, right? There was a time where I was bouncing between playing 40K hobby and playing MMOs. Those are like not, those are two super high bandwidth things that you probably don't want to just invest in too, entirely. Um, so yeah. Okay. So Roast here has a bunch of just stuff. He has like this looks like, what is that? Is that vegetables? I don't know. He may have vegetables. But yeah, that's where I was at. Malifaux, and then malifaux was a thing. And when I first saw someone playing it, I was immediately skeptical. I was like, whatever. I mean, they're just flipping cards. It's the same thing as rolling dice, right? They don't even get to. I didn't know at that point that they were cheating fate. I was like, oh, it's the same thing. You just need a random number generator, right? Why should I pay for that? I'll just play any other game. And then what happened was I was at CQ one day, and they had it on the shelf, and I was looking at forget. I was looking at the old school Rasputina and Lilith and Lady J, and I was like, you know, I might not like this game, but that stuff definitely looks cool to paint. So so I bought a couple of the kits, came home, started to paint them. I looked at the cards, like the fold out cards, and I was like, this game looks really weird. And like every character is a character. Like that's gotta be pretty cool. Um, and so, kind of started to collect more, started to paint more, and then sure enough, ended up with a crew, and then it just kind of went from there. We started playing the game, realized we liked the game, then realized we really then at that point book two had just come out, so Colette just came out, um, and I was like immediately I was like, okay, I'm dropping all other plans to collect other crews right now so I can collect that crew. Like I specifically want to play that crew. So I ended up doing that, and yeah, I that's what really got me excited for the game. Then we we went to SmackDown. For those of you who are familiar with the SoCal convention scene, we went to SoCal SmackDown, and we decided we were just gonna show up and teach people how to play malifaux. So so we set up a little demo area. We knew the organizer for SmackDown, and so we're running demos of malifaux, and these two guys come by and they're checking it out and whatever, and we get to talking with them, and they're like, "Oh, dude, we don't need a demo. We play malifaux. Like, we love malifaux." These two guys, and one of them says, "Hey, dude, hey, are you guys playing in that uh, tournament later tonight?" And then we were like, "Oh, I didn't realize there was a tournament." And they're like, "Yeah, you should play in it. There's a tournament going on tonight." So, um, so that night we go into a tournament, and I've got Colette, and she's brand new, and I'm just kind of, I'm doing my thing, kind of like, unfortunately, I'm doing stuff like what I was doing in Nelson. Again, not on purpose. I'm just doing what she's capable of doing, right? And and I ended up winning that tournament. So I won the tournament, and it was really cool. And I won a Collodi box, I believe, which was also brand new at the time. And we got to talking to the people that we played in that tournament with, and you know, the guy that ran the tournament, he was telling me like he was thinking about being a henchman, but he decided against it. He's going to go back to War Machine, so he was just kind of running that tournament off an obligation, right? And when that tournament was over, I kind of decided to myself that I wasn't, I'd left 40K, and I was a competitive 40K player, and I was like, I'm not going to do that with this game. I'm not going to do that with malifaux. I love this game, and I've decided to use my powers for good, right? That I would just, instead of going down that route, I was just going to instead promote the game. So that night I put in my henchman application for malifaux, and that's where it started. Really, is consciously deciding I was not going to play the game competitively, uh, and then those two guys that we met at SmackDown, they ended up being Jake and um, the other guys that kind of helped us form we were the original members of what was SoCal Malifaux back in the day. This is 2011, and I can't take too much credit for really sparking the fire. I would have to say I would have to give that to Jake. Hey, what's up, Sean? Welcome to the feed. I would give that to Jake. Jake was really the original, you know, he was really the original hype master for the game locally, and I was more like the I was more like the at that time I was the person who happened to be the first to step up and say, "Yeah, I'll hench for the game," right? I'll start promoting the game. And then Jake, he followed suit. He was the second person. He said, "Okay, I will also hench for the game," and we started working together, collaborating on our events and building this community and making, just being really creative. We were one of the first um, miniature game communities on Facebook, right? Because Facebook groups was not a big thing in 2011. Very few people even knew that Facebook had groups. And um, so Jake made the SoCal Malifaux Facebook group where we based all of our early activity, and we built our community online there. And at the same time, I started shooting. I at the same time I started my YouTube channel and started just filming battle reports, and they're super terrible, right? They're I shot them on a GoPro, not a GoPro, on a what are those things called? I have one right here. That's how old it is. What were those called? A flip. Do you guys remember flip recorders? I have a flip right here. Check it out. It's crazy. This thing is like a relic. But like my original Jeebus, you can't even see the lens anymore. Look at this thing. So my original YouTube channel, Jeebus, like covered in dust, was shot on this flip. Right? There's probably footage on here still. Um, so uh, so my original channel, like probably the first year of material was shot on a flip. And you want to know how, because on a flip you couldn't normally, you can't really shoot miniatures, right? You need to have a macro lens, and I had a macro lens. So this is magnetic. It sticks to the front of the flip. You flip it on, and it will focus on your miniatures, right? So I used to film battle reports on my flip. And it was like super shaky cam. If you look at those old bat reps, it was all like super shaky cam, super shitty production or whatever, right? And we were screwing around, just enjoying ourselves, right? Whatever. We're a casual. We were we're what you call hardcore gamers, casual YouTubers, and at that time, SoCal Malifaux became such a huge thing. We quickly grew to 200 members. We had crazy attendance. Um, we were running 2 to 3 events per week, mostly demo nights, but then we also had events like, one-day achievement leagues and that kind of stuff. And we were all over the place. Like so we were down here in Orange County. I was the henchman for Comic Quest. Jake was the henchman for Brookhurst Hobbies. Not Brookhurst Hobbies, Mercenary Market. If you guys remember Mercenary Market, that was in Costa Mesa. So we would do Tuesdays at Comic Quest. We'd do Thursdays at Mercenary Market. We would go down to we would go up to Riverside to GMI. We started a henchman out there in GMI. We started a henchman. We went down south. We went to Oceanside and we started a henchman down there, down at Paradise. We started a henchman down at Ease. We had a henchman that came in from Victorville, one from Bakersfield. We had 2 from LA, and we were this gigantic community that was built around henchmen, all coordinating with each other and all traveling to each other's areas to just continue to push the game. It was gigantic. It was a gigantic community, and there are it's really weird, but even today there are people that will come up to me, um, like when I'm in, when I'm at like when I used to go to like Monstore in Montclair and that kind of stuff, they would come up to me and go, "Oh, you're the malifaux guy. You taught me how to play malifaux like, you know, 7 or 8 years ago or whatever." That's crazy. That's crazy that there's still people walking around like that. But that's how that's what it was. And when M3E came along and all that other drama and all that stuff happened, and we basically dissolved that giant community. Like Don over at CQ was telling me that the creators heard about that. They heard about us like hating Malifaux Second Edition. so, uh, so yeah, Malifaux has had a very very special place with me for a long time. It's been a love hate thing. Uh, you know, we've been we've been on the outs for many many years during M2E, and now now I'm like excited to play it again. Now I feel like it's water under the bridge, and let's do it. Are we going to be able to kind of recreate that magic that happened before? I don't know, and honestly, if uh, I don't even know what role I play, because so much time has passed, and you know I have we have our little guild ball community. We have people that just you know I feel really kind of honored that there are people that value what games I'm playing, and they want to play those games with me. That's awesome, right? I love that. Um, and I'm super super grateful for it. But we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens this time around, and whether or not I'm what kind of role I play in malifaux, if any. I mean, at the very least, I'm going to play it and enjoy it. I think that's my priority above everything right now. Play it, paint it, enjoy it, and then we'll worry about. I don't think I ever want to worry about needing to build a gigantic community about again. I would rather just have a very active, healthy community, right? And it's like we were talking in chat um, a few weeks ago before this all happened, before we started trying to play it. We looked at the companies objectively, and we were like, well, Weird is in a good shape. They're in good shape because they're in hard plastic. They're 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 available in stores. They keep regular releases. That's a lot of stuff that we can't say about a lot of the other games that we play. Sad to say. Hey, I love Steamforge. I'll still rep for Steamforge, but right now, Weird is more reliable about getting their products out, and right now they've got the momentum, right? They got good buzz about their game, and like I said, it's been a home for me. It's had a very sentimental place with me for a long time. So there's still a lot to like. Gonna get them goblins, man. But there's still a lot of quirks to Malifaux. I feel like more could have been done to streamline the game in certain parts without taking away too much depth. And I'm talking about simple stuff, right? Like I don't think you need 5 deployments. I don't think you need 5 types of deployment. Um, I think there may be have been an easier way to determine schemes. Um, there's just stuff like that. There's just a little bit of fat that, in my opinion, that can be trimmed. I'm painting a fat guy, but yeah, there's a little bit of fat that can be trimmed to make malifaux a little bit faster, and importantly, a little more accessible to new players, new and interested players. I do think that the keyword thing and the way um, the way strategies and scheme score now is more newbie friendly, favors a more balanced game, and allows people to. It really rewards people for playing their theme. I love that. That's that right there is enough reason for me to want to come back. Is that I felt like M2E stripped a lot of the really good theme out of version 1 to make it a more competitive game. And that was really their aim too in second edition is the designers wanted a more competitive game. They were hearing the player base clamor about we want to have more organized play. We want to have rankings. We want to, they wanted Mal M2E to be, more of a highbrow tournament game. And I think in doing that, they stripped, or I'll say, in attempting to do it, they stripped the game of, um, they stripped the game of a lot of its flavor. They stripped a lot of really fun play styles out that were super fun and super thematic, but weren't quote unquote competitive. They weren't geared for higher level competition. Uh, but I don't even think M2E really succeeded as a competitive game. At least not when you put it up against the likes of Guild Ball, right? If you're going to play a competitive game, I think Guild Ball just completely would destroy Malifaux as a quote unquote purely competitive game. Um, so I didn't think they quite hit the mark there with 2E. 3E, I think I think they really were more going more for the quote unquote the fun, right? And I gotta respect that. They were going for more, and they wanted people to get value out of their starter boxes, and they wanted people to feel like, yeah, if I'm playing Ortegas, reward me for playing Ortegas. Don't make it so like, oh, you're playing Ortegas, okay, we'll take Perdita and Nino, and then take these other 4 models because they're more powerful than the rest of your Ortega family. You know what I mean? That's that's what I think they stripped out of the game. Now that said, you can still hire out a keyword, and if you have very specific reasons that fit your playstyle for going out a keyword, by all means do it, right? But if you're just a guy looking for, that posts a thread on the internet, what is the best model in the Outcast faction? Just so that you can say point for point, you feel the best, most efficient model in the faction, then Malifaux's it's not gonna work for you. It's not gonna click for you. 3E it doesn't really reward that type of thinking. 3E, if you were to play 3E competitively, in my opinion, then I think you take 2 or maybe 3 masters with different keywords, go deep into those keywords, and then have them specifically designed for strategy and schemes that come up. That's how I think you play Malifaux competitively. I don't think you have to play it that way to enjoy it, though. And talking with Kevin the other day too, I agree with his comment that it's not Malifaux can be a competitive game, but really where it really does well for casual play, and it's really fun for casual play. You can have hotly contested games in casual play that don't necessarily need to be, like I was saying, they don't necessarily need to be like, top shelf highbrow play. Um, and I love that about the game. But mostly, what I really love about the game is right now is that it's got its theme back. Specifically, Colette. Colette has a playstyle again. That's gigantic in my book, right? Because I that was such a big gripe for me in 2E. It was like, oh, they took away everything interesting about Colette. Um, they made her super reliable, but her playstyle was just spam this one ability over and over again, and that was like that was it. That was the end of the line for me. I was like, okay, I played. Me and Mark would play malifaux like once per year because I would be sad like looking at the miniatures. I'm like, please let this be a good game. And we tried to play it, and then I hated it. Then we put it away for about a year, and then pick it up again, and play it, and hated it again. Um, but this time was different, right? This time I feel like I have a playstyle back. I have my favorite master, um, who is at least interesting to play. I actually kind of appreciate that she's no longer like stupidly high top tier, but she's capable, right? You can still do very very well with her. She's just not considered like the uber best thing ever on the internet, and I like that. That's kind of what I'm looking for in a lot of games. Is I don't need to know or feel like whatever I'm playing is the most powerful. I want to feel like it has the potential to do very well. That's really nice, but I don't need it to be the quote unquote the best. This guy's like wearing a full on like chef's outfit. This guy is crazy. It's like this red ninja sea otter guy. I'm looking for the flavor. Yeah. I love that the game rewards you for playing flavorful. I feel like if you kind of understand the essence of what this particular crew is and you play to that you're going to do better in the game. But also, you kind of have to. I also think it's a good idea to eventually move out to 2 or 3 keywords so that you can, so that you feel competent in a couple in most scenarios. Okay. There's supposed to be a tattoo here on roast, and I cannot be bothered to do that. It's too. The guy didn't pay extra for freehand, so I don't think I'm doing it. All right. But man, I'm like jonesing for more and more games now, though. Like the fever is pretty damn strong. So me and Andrew got to find out how cool Fitzsimmons is, and Carlos Vasquez. Carlos Vasquez is pretty fun as a henchman. I might even take him into my Showgirls crew where I am looking to, to do more killing. I could see Carlos Vasquez being in that kind of stuff. Hey, what's up? What's up, Kevin? What is going down? M and SU guys were awesome because that solidarity rule is pretty nuts, where they just get pluses on their defense and willpower flips. That is pretty cool. Not having 2 keywords, and I guess I phrased that wrong, but building 2 keywords so that, like for example, in my case, I'm building Colette. Actually, I've already built Colette, so I have performer keyword, and performer keyword is really good at the strategies and schemes that require a lot of mobility, but they don't tend to be very good at strategies and schemes that require a high amount of durability or killing. Those are 2 areas that they don't do very well. right? So then you pick another keyword or master that you think will help cover the weak, whatever the perceived weakness is of your main keyword, right? So, like for example, Andrew's going to build Hoffman, who's got a lot of high armor and pretty and decent damage output. Well, maybe he builds out Perdita to give himself some additional speed and range, right? Because the armor is really good, but the armor is more of like a melee focus crew, melee and armor. And Perdita would give him the other half of that. Perdita would give him, high damage range and then a reasonable amount of speed and mobility. Yeah, all the burn tokens, pretty awesome. So if like him, so with Carlos and Firestarter, just spreading out the burning on everything in a Karis crew, that can be pretty devastating. I got to break out Karis at some point, but well, I'm having too much fun with Colette. So you're stuck with Colette for a little bit, Nelson. Sorry, not sorry, man. Yeah, Peacekeeper and Hunters. Oh, man. It's going to take probably about 2 to 3 hours to build the stuff that Andrew brought. And roughly that amount of time to paint it as well. So I'm thinking if I can get a good 6 hours between tomorrow and Wednesday night, then I can finish Andrew's stuff. Because this stuff here, I'll be able to knock these cooks out toot sweet here. I still have to do the goal and that extra, at the goal, the ball. Let's do the ball real quick. And bits of terrain. But yeah, oops. I need, spread the fever. Yeah. Like I said, Andrew, I was talking to Cameron this morning about it. And he was pretty resistant. He was like, nah, pass. he didn't like the keyword. He felt the keyword was too restrictive on hiring. And I tried to explain to him, I'm like, well, yeah, it is, but that's kind of a good thing. Now, knowing Cameron, if you can get him to get out of his house, if you can get him out of his house, he'll have fun, right? That's the hard part, though. Hard part's getting Cameron out of his house to come down end game. We may have to go down to him. We may have to go down to like the Montclair area and like pick him and Chris up. Chris is down. Like I know Chris is down. We could probably get Chris to come play. Then if we get Chris to play, then Cameron's in for sure. And the other cool thing about that is if we head out to the Inland Empire, then we get Gabe, and we can even like pay a visit to Pedro. Go to GMI, visit Pedro. I'm sure Catherine would be like, "What the hell, Octave? You're playing malifaux again?" Let's paint some bread here. Fresh bread. As you can see, There's a high degree of skill involved in painting bread. I'm just gonna paint this and then shade it with snakebite leather until it's done. Yeah, guys, for me, it's gonna be hard for me to move Thursdays. And I get what you were saying, like, if we have a bunch of people playing malifaux at Gamecraft, I feel a little bit guilty because we're taking up so much space. So I, I don't disagree with you there, but I just don't know if we have like another good alternative or not. I don't know. All right, let's do. I can't swap to Tuesday. That's a bummer. Yeah, I totally cannot swap to Tuesday. I can do a Tuesday every once in a while, but I think if we do that, then like if I'm going on a Tuesday, I'm probably going to want to play some Aristea over M3E and try to keep M3E for like Thursday. Just get all that down. You can play in your garage. We might have to, dude. I mean, I should. I do kind of want to. I could clean up this room here and have you guys come back here again. Which we probably will sometimes. I think. I think we will. Um, and I got to see like if the little boys though, if they're not going to sleep and they're keeping mom up all night, that could be a problem. So we gotta. She says it's okay, but I don't know. I don't trust that answer. Not that I don't trust her answer. I just don't know that that's right. If it comes down to it and it's like a rough evening and they won't go down, it'd be like, sorry guys, we gotta wrap it up because the boys need to sleep. You know, we can yeah, we filming. I do want to film some match reports, and this place here is, as you guys know, is designed for doing stuff like that. So we should do that, and we can run multiple cameras and all that good stuff, and stream it or just record it and then upload it. Like we have a bunch of options if we do it here. Um, the thing is, I don't know that this would always be available. So we might have to like set a special date or so where we go, okay, we're gonna do specifically, we are gonna do a game report, at my place, and then we just kind of set it up and then take it from there. It needs to happen though. There's not enough. There really isn't enough malifaux presence on YouTube. It's because it's a very hard game to film, in my opinion. It's a great game to play, but it's always been kind of a tough game to film. And I need to work out exactly how I want to film the game. I might have to do something pretty intense, right? Like record, if we're going to be at CQ or whatever, record the whole game at CQ, watch it back, and then I'll know areas where I can fast forward and voice over, and then areas that I just want to leave alone and let the viewer watch. Like if I can get it down to where, our games are lasting maybe an hour 15, and then sped up and chopped up into a match report, it ends up only being about 35 minutes. I think that's ideal. 30 minutes or less for a battle report would be fantastic. That's kind of how I'm like gauging the potential here. You run a slow grow league. I have okay. So I was asked this before. I have a format that worked really well back in the day. That served. It was a single day event that functioned as both a demo day and an opportunity for established players to get in lots of games of malifaux. And it's a 1 day achievement league, right? And what you do in a 1 day achievement league is you're at the beginning of the day, you're given this sheet of paper and it's got all this stuff in it that you cross off, right? Like play a 25 soulstone game, play a 35 soulstone game, play a 50 soulstone game, right? And then there were two different packets. There was a packet for that you got if you were brand new to the game that essentially would walk you from a demo to the end of the day where you're playing an actual full game. And if you were an established player, you kind of went along the same trajectory, except you were encouraged to run the demo, right? Because you're encouraged to teach a new player the game and experiment at the same time, right? And what was cool about it is the veteran players. I think it gave them an appreciation for what game volunteers do because you're teaching someone new how to play the game, but then it's also challenging you to do kind of ridiculous stuff with your crew just to see if you know, just to see if you can do it for one, and then see if you have enough mastery of the game to really try for some really um, some things that are challenging. Uh, so it was a really cool format. Uh, I'll have to dig up the files and then we would update them uh, for the third edition rules. But I think it's feasible. I think it would be. I think it really does have the potential to be something kind of awesome. I'm gonna just whoop. But that was a really popular format that we used to run. And then then we could do. You could also do like a weekly slow grow league where if the people coming in from CQ are like, okay, I'm new to malifaux, but I play at CQ every week. That might be fun too. Shit, was this supposed to be cauliflower? I don't know. It's green, whatever it is now. Sure, that's what it is. All kinds of foods is on this fire starter 1 day events. But we used to do events like that, and malifaux is a game that you really kind of um, that it's just so thematic that we were doing all kinds of weird stuff with it. You can't get to uh, a triple negative flip anymore, can you? In the current rules, I don't think you can. Oh no, you still can. You still can. Okay, good. I just figured out how you can. So there's going to be stuff like that. Like that's something in a 1 day achievement league. Like you know, get yourself to perform a quadruple or a 4 card flip, right? And if it doesn't instantly come to you how you get that done, then it becomes a challenging thing, right? And if you're the kind of experienced player and you're teaching someone new how to play the game, that's going to be running in the back of your mind too while you're uh while you're running the thing. Yeah, Kevin's got it already. See, Kevin didn't have to worry about it, but for some people, it takes a little bit of processing to go, okay, how do I get to flipping 4 cards on a damage flip? Uh, so, so yeah, that's how you would do it. But then it's about crafting your game with the new player to get to that point where you're doing that. And they might be wondering, well, what the hell are you doing? You cheated down. You were in a better damage situation, and you're like, nah, I need this. I need to click off this achievement. So you would do that uh, to knock, to mark the achievement. It was really interesting too when avatars were a thing because you also got to learn how to manifest your avatar, which I still think was a super cool mechanic. I wish that I wish they were able to balance that and keep that in game because that was super fun. Going from like you take your master, you pay for a 2 soulstone upgrade to allow to give you the basically to give you the opportunity to bring your avatar in, but it didn't guarantee that you could bring the avatar in because there was always for each master there were manifestation requirements that you had to make in game in order to um, reach uh, your avatar form. And it was super fun. And the weird thing is, I didn't think avatars were broken in the slightest. It was really odd to me that the dev team for M3E came back and they were like, "No, we can't balance these." We're like, "Really? They seem balanced already. They didn't avatars weren't necessarily like stronger than the regular master version. It was just it the real power from that came into this idea that you're changing your playstyle on your opponent, and your opponent is now has to stay on their toes. Like for example, Ramos, when Ramos would go Avatar, Ramos would go from this like ranged spellcasting guy, and then when he went Avatar, he went like full blown melee beast, right? And he went from really slow to like super fast, and um, that was that was really cool because people, they were used to Ramos sitting, hanging back, and summoning in that type of game. And then in the middle of that game, suddenly he would swap forms, and you'd have to like, oh crap, now I've got this melee beast in my face that I have to deal with. I always thought that was super cool, and hopefully, it would have been great if there was, you know, a way uh, to rebalance that for third edition because those models are out there. They exist. They're super fun. Can I tell you guys about what Colette's avatar was? Because so her avatar, I'm going to tell you anyway. You didn't ask. I'm just her avatar was she got 3 models. Nelson's going to love this. So you ended up with 3 Colettes, right? And every turn was a shell game. You had to, you would kind of note which one was the true Colette. Actually, I don't think you had to, because like you knew you would flip, and then the other player would randomly determine if they were attacking one of the clones or one of Colette or one actual Colette, and you could kind of shift that around. And so it was really interesting. She actually powered down when she went to her avatar form because she was arguably OP in. Oh shit, that's bad. I just I hate these GW pots. Look at that, spilled. No, stupid GW. Anyway, um, so she would power down, but it was still really interesting because now you had this weird shell game version of her, who was actually easier to kill than standard Colette, but harder to find. There was a lot of really cool avatars. Any plans for Sunday? I well Saturday. I'm supposed to help my wife with a. She's doing like a picnic thing, I think, at the house. I don't know, for her former students. So we may have them here at the house or something like that. I don't know. I'm not in charge of that stuff. But that does mean that I will most likely have the ability to go out and game on Sunday. So yeah, we could figure something out. I don't know if I'm doing that right. I will definitely be looking for games on Sunday. I might just, yeah. I guess I'm can't let this go to waste. So, God, those GW pots are so annoying. I might be free. Nice. Um, I would be free probably in the middle of the afternoon. So probably like between 2 and 4, and then I'd be free to about say say 6 or 7. Right? Kind of guessing here, but I think that's what's going to work for me. This stuff's pretty nice. It acts like a like like the old chestnut ink. And this dries down to a really neat color. Granted, it might look a little too clean, but that's okay. Oh, thanks, dude. Cooks are fun to paint. I don't, most of us have low opinion of them as a guild, as playing a guild. But I had a passing interest in them. They kind of reminded me of season 3 Alchemists, which I kind of liked. But then, like, much weaker than season 3 Alchemists. I guess what I was most interested in was Intensify and then Sugar's snapshot turret ability was really interesting to me. And anything really around their intimidation was a really cool guild rule. Sure. I guess I'm gonna mix some green and more brown on the base. What's my hot take on power creep in Guild Ball? Oh gosh. Am I allowed to say it as a pundit? Sure, I don't care. I do feel like there I do feel like that we are seeing a little bit of power creep. Not a little bit. I would say that there are kits that like seem like they're just straight up power creep. Uh, you know, Knuckles is pretty strong. He looks pretty impressive. but I'm more talking about stuff like Vbor, miners, uh, even Corbelli. I feel like those are like straight up power creep. I still think that overall the game is in a good place, but you know, more my concern is around the models themselves and the schedule of release um, and swapping to resin. That's really where the bulk of my concern lies. The power creep, I don't think it's I don't see that as really the deal breaker. What's weird to me is I know a lot of people worry about power creep, um, but you know, let's bear in mind, like GW openly does power creep. They're like, look, we just want you to buy our models. They're like unapologetic about it. Um, so consciously or not, we're at least kind of accustomed to seeing some power creep. Would you be okay with retiring players in the future? That's a great question, actually. It's a really good question. Uh, for tournament play, yes, I do think so. I would be okay with that. I think for tournament play, there's just going to have to be some concessions made with this idea that hey, this is an expanding miniature line, and that balancing that isn't always going to be the most foolproof thing. Um, so retiring miniatures, while not the most optimum solution, it has to be regarded as at least a somewhat viable solution in times at times because of power imbalances and yeah, it would be in some cases. I mean, you could make the argument that okay, well, that's basically them admitting that there's power creep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could totally make that argument. Um, but at the same time, okay, so they admit it. Cool. It at least at least they want to do the right thing regarding the competitive scene. And I think if you don't have for Guild Ball, which hangs its hat on being a competitive game, you don't have a competitive scene, you don't have a credible competitive scene, then just hang it up. You know what I mean? The casual Guild Ball community is only gonna get you so far. Guild Ball as a casual game is fun, but it's only gonna get you so far. The game really does need to thrive in a uh, in a competitive environment. Let honor retire. Well, I mean, look, if Malifaux does what they did was they advanced their storyline, right? And they killed off characters. They were like, okay, you can't play them anymore. Um, and I have a bunch of mixed feelings about that, but I still also kind of respect it. Like, okay, yeah, that was one way of handling some things um, in balancing our rules. Is let's use some fluff and let's oh, that didn't quite work the way I hoped it would. Let's see how this dries. See how it dries. It might look weird, it might not. But whatever. We're finishing this, or mostly. We're mostly finishing this stuff tonight. I don't think it would. Yeah, they they retired Honor. That would be very bittersweet for me. Honor was like my go-to captain for the first 2 seasons of Guild Ball. And now to see her where she's at now, both as a captain and as a vet player, so sad. So sad. Poor Honor. And she's like the most fanboy character in the fluff, right? Like everyone, like there's this like crazy hushed presence about Honor in the fluff, and you're like, dude, but you put her on the table, she's trash. Let me ask you something. Do you think uh, Honor is better or worse than Midas right now? Have to ask. I don't know. I don't know if she is. I don't know if she's better or worse than Midas. They're both not great, but I don't know. I think they're both still playable. 24% win rate. That's very hard to argue with. Oh boy. Let's see. Let Weird keep 8 masters per faction, and you lose some masters in the older factions to new shinies. Yeah, I was bummed about losing Ramos because that was like one of my favorite masters. That was my go-to forever was Ramos and Colette, right? They were such good complementary masters for one another. And it was like, well, you could run Ramos and Hoffman, and I was like, meh. Hoffman when he came out, I always kind of looked at him as sort of the like less interesting kind of wannabe good guy version of Ramos. I like that Ramos was just this. He was either like a scheming dick, like mastermind, but then in M3E, they kind of just made him this like whiny little bitch dude that just did all underhanded shit. Like he was just this like sad little man. I was like, ah, it sucks. Um, Also losing Lilith would suck too because I really liked her aesthetic. I I really like that alt metal um, Lilith model that came out where she was holding a sickle. That was like one of the coolest minis. Uh, and then when they came out with their plastic one, they just took the same thing and put this little sword in her hand. That kind of made me sad. I mean, she's supposed to have a great sword, and that sword, the one in the plastic one, just it's not a great sword. It's like at best that's a long sword. It made me kind of sad. All right, cool. Let's let all this stuff dry. Looking pretty good. Dude, that was not bad. Like we kind of cooked. We painted for about 2 hours, right? And we're done. We made it through. We made it through all of those, all of them cooks. Where's the lid to this thing? Let's look at. I'm not going to build any of your stuff right now, Andrew, because I got to get up for work in the morning. But let's have a look at it. Where's the cap to this? And I gotta, so I'll seal these tomorrow night. And they're all still very much drying. Take this boring stuff out. I gotta paint Iggy. Look at this little child. I'm gonna burn your face. Little angry. He's a Neverborn. He's like a Kruligan that's like a fire gammon on steroids. He's not a Kruligan. Sorry, he's not a Kruligan. He's a woe. He counts as a woe and wildfire. So here's Spice. Probably my least favorite sculpt of the cooks. I like how she's just like super tall and lanky. They have some cool. One thing about the cooks is neat is they have these. They all have really interesting body shapes and sizes. Sugar is cool. I don't know that I like her pose. She got a frying pan. That's pretty awesome. Roast is just cool. Just great looking sculpt all around. Wellington is, he's all right. He's also not a very impressive sculpt. It's a cool character. Wellington's a cool character. Not the most impressive sculpt. Cinnamon, I really like this sculpt. Like, I'm really impressed with it. Wow, it looks like all that flour that I tried to make there just doesn't look that great. It just looks kind of like a mess. I mean, that's what he wanted. He wanted her to look like a mess. Yeah, the Alt Wellington is a much better sculpt. And then this guy, what is he at, Kevin? What's his win rate? 59. Is he over 60% win rate? I don't think so, right? The man, the myth. Like he is really cool, but it's a great sculpt. I was pointing this out. See that giant chip there missing from the cleaver? That just sucks. Dude is over 60% win rate. Holy crud. Yeah. Sorry, V-Bor. You need to get the bat, dude. You need to get the Nerf bat. Anyway, I'm going to put this here. Oh, shoot. It really is late. Corbelli is winning. Yeah, I'm just going to put that there, and we're gonna call it. I'll do a massive build on your stuff tomorrow night, Andrew. The idea is to get it. If I can get, I need probably 3 hours. I can 3 hours. I could stamp and build and prime, and then 3 hours Wednesday night to paint it all. I think I can do that. If I can get 6 hours, I think I can do it. All right, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank everyone for watching. Have a good night, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Where's my mouse thing? Good night.